Thank you for joining us for today's edition of Weekend Central on TV3, also live on DSTV channel 279. My name is Hammoah Agyemang.
Welcome back.
Thank you, Godwin.
My name is Godwin Asediba. Welcome to the program. The headlines.
Senior Staff Association Universities of Ghana declare nationwide strike from Monday, September 16.
Also coming up, National Democratic Congress NDC insists planned protest slated for Tuesday, September 17 to demand a forensic audit of the voters' register if it will proceed. We have details of these and more stories coming your way shortly.
Many thanks for joining us. The program starts right here, right now. We're live on DSTV channel 279 and all our social media platforms on TV3 Ghana. The Paramount Chief of the Nandom Traditional Area, now Professor Edmund Muinin Delechu VIII, says he has no faith in the government 5-member inter-ministerial committee set up to look into the illegal mining menace. According to the former chairman of the Convention People's Party, CPP, the committee is partisan and therefore will not come out with any good recommendation. He has therefore joined the call for a total ban on small-scale mining.
Well, he's the executive president, and everything rests on him. Now, it means if they are even to do that, where are the stakeholders? It shouldn't only be one group of people, which is Unipart. I would have thought that, knowing that this is now a national program, not NPP or NDC, you should have certain people who have clear minds and who are going to come without fear or favor. But you see, if you take your own people to go, no matter what efforts you make, the others will protest. I would have expected that we have a non-partisan group so that at least this, and people who know, you see, put them together and then they can come and say, but once you bring your own group of people, and whatever you bring out, you get opposition.
Technically, you don't have faith in this committee that has just been formed. It was formed today.
Yes, what I'm saying is that I personally don't think they can do, even if they have the best suggestions, but it's also partisan. I wanted a non-partisan committee. For instance, NDC should have had it. There are people there. Get other people so that when we come out with a decision, which is non-partisan, I always believe that when we have trouble, like war, there is no NDC, there is no NPP. It's only Ghana.
So as you may already know, the government has come under intense pressure to ban mining of all forms after the Ghana Water Company Limited issued an alert on the polluted Pra River. And the Joint Health Sector Unions, the University Association of Ghana, UTAG, and Leadership, Organized Labour, and some religious and social organizations have backed calls for government to take action to tackle the menace. President Akufo-Addo has since set up a 5-member ad hoc committee to engage stakeholders over the Galamsey menace. Information Minister Fatima Abubakar, in a statement on Friday, indicated that the National Security Minister Albert Kandapa, as a chairman of the committee, other members of the committee include Minister for Lands and Natural Resources Samuel Abu Jinapor, Minister for Defense Dominic Nitiwu, Minister for Employment, Labour Relations and Pensions Ignatius Bafuiwa, and the Minister for Information Fatimatu Abubakar. So let's have a conversation on this other committee set by the government and how they intend to go about their work. Abdul Razak Al-Hassan is a communication director of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners, NASIM, and he is joining us for a conversation. So, Bakar, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Great. So the president has set up a 5-member ad hoc committee to engage stakeholders of Galamsey, but some say that the time or the period for conversations and discussions on Galamsey or illegal mining has passed. Does the association agree, or you think we should give this committee time to work?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to your listeners. I think we as an association, we still go by the rules of the game. I think what the president did, yes, he has set this committee before, another committee, which was called the Ministerial Committee. And then that was when the ban and everything came in. And then he's repeating same. And what he has repeated, some of us as an association would have thought that at least he would do a mixture of it, so that they will come out with a concrete, though it's better late than never. It's too short a time. But with the 5-member committee, some of us would have think that I think he will add the other political parties and then civil society, so that at least it will complement, so that when they come out with an investigation or anything solution, it will bind everybody, whether a change of government is in or not. All of them will cheer towards that system, because it is a problem we want to solve, which means that the illegality which is going on in the mining sector, that we want to solve. So if we are engaging stakeholders, then it should be a holistic approach. It should be non-partisan. It should be anything at all that we are doing. Because the first ad hoc committee that he said, there were 10 ministers. Now he has reduced it to 5. And these 5 ministers are all from his party. And though it's a government machinery, but we would have expected that he will broaden it, and then we'll take it out from there.
That means, though the association welcomes the formation of the committee, you think its membership could have been a bit diverse than what we have now?
Exactly, my sister.
All right. So what has the association also make of calls for government to temporarily ban all forms of small-scale mining?
That is where we are having a challenge, because the issue of banning small-scale mining is not the solution. We are talking of illegalities. Something which is illegal, we don't ban it. We approve it or we take it out. But when you discriminate by saying small scale, are they saying that it's small scale miners who are perpetrating this illegality? I would say no, because by law, the law which is governing all of us indicates that small scale mining and large scale miners, they have to apply and take licenses. So why should it be discriminatory that large scale companies are exempted, small scale miners should be banned? And then with the issue which we are talking about, there are 2 issues: the water bodies and the forest reserves. By law, there's no law in this country, or that the Minerals Commission, laws and everything, that they give licenses to small-scale miners to mine on river bodies. No, we don't get licenses to mine on river bodies. And when it comes to the forest reserves, it is only large-scale companies who have the privilege to apply for mining in forest reserves. So everybody you see in the forest reserve, if the person is not mining illegally, then the person or that group or company is a large scale. So if they are calling for a ban, it should be a holistic approach, so that if it's a conversation, we can look at it. But to discriminate, to say small scale, that is where some of us are having a challenge.
So, Paga, you know, there's a concern that some small-scale miners who have licensed by the Minerals Commission also engage in destructive activities under the umbrella that they have the license to mine.
My sister, that one is neither here nor there. We have an institution which is taking care of this industry. We have the Minerals Commission, we have the Minerals Inspection Division and the Minerals Commission who do inspections and those things. We have EPA, we have water resources. What are they doing? Are they people telling the whole world that they can't do their job, and which some small-scale miners are holding licenses and they are perpetrating illegality? So if it is an institutional thing, let's deal with it. But we shouldn't force something on us which we have done nothing about it. It's not true. So if some people are perpetrating illegality, let's take them out, punish them. But we don't ban all illegal, all small-scale mining. Meanwhile, those who are perpetrating the illegalities, they will still be there.
What is the association's recommendation on how government should go about dealing with illegal mining, since the fight by government has failed over the years?
Thank you, my sister. I think it's a simple thing, because if government were listening to we, the industry players, we would not get to where we are. Look, there are two things that we can deal with. Government should revoke every license which is in the forest. They should revoke everything. And then make sure that they give them an ultimatum. If it is 2 weeks, everybody should take their machines out of those forests. That's number one. Number two, the people perpetrating these illegalities on our water bodies. It's a simple thing, because they are living with community leaders. The communities are all over these river banks. And these people are sitting there doing illegalities. And they do these things in connection with the chiefs and community leaders who are even taking their money weekly. And then these same people are living with these community people. They don't sleep on the river bodies. So if we want a solution, it's just to give a directive. Any community that these people are staying, we are giving you a week. Let them remove all their machines out of that place. When they do not, we will come and take these community leaders and then punish them. You don't think that they will allow these people to be there? The solutions are from the local people, but we sit at the top, and then we are saying a lot of grammar, and then we are not taking any action. So, and then we as an association, we form our task force, which we were doing very well. Even to get support from government to do these things, they were rather heckling us. You arrest some illegality, send them illegal people, send them to police station. You see a party chairman, an MP camp, or they are my people. You see a chief wear a cloth to come and beg on their behalf. So at the end of the day, it is the same leadership which is facing this problem. But then they turn around to blame small-scale miners. We have voluntarily took our own money, our resources to fight these people, but they wouldn't allow us to fight them.
All right, Mr. Razak, thank you for talking to us. Abdul Razak Al-Hassan, Communication Director of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners, talking to us there on that menace. Well, let's stay a while longer on this, and as calls intensify for drastic government action to tackle illegal mining, Galamsey, flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, has accused appointees of President Akufo-Addo of being complicit in illegal mining. This, he says, is a reason that is making the fight against Galamsey difficult. Speaking at an energy sector forum in Accra, John Mahama said no appointee of his government will be allowed to engage in small-scale mining.
The Minerals Commission awards the concessions, and they award the concessions to people. Are we holding the people who hold the concessions responsible for what happens on their concessions? If we do that, it will solve the problem of Galamsey. You have the concession. If we come and you're doing mining the wrong way, we'll take the concession from you. The people who are supposed to implement are complicit, and that's what's happening. Those who are supposed to check are the ones taking money from the illegal activity and turning a blind eye, you know. And the point even is that, and I gave a warning, I said, look, if you want to be a gold miner in the gold industry, then don't serve in my government as a DC or as a minister or anything. The reason why it is difficult to deal with Galamsey is because members of this government, from DCs to MPs to ministers, are involved in small-scale gold mining. That's why it's difficult to deal with it. I have no small-scale gold concession. I don't have any relatives involved in small-scale mining. I don't expect my ministers to be engaged in small-scale mining. My DCs should not be involved. If I find that you're involved, I'll remove you. Go and mine. If you want to mine, go and mine. If you want to serve the people, serve the people. But one of the things we say is that we should move the implementing agencies and enforcing agencies closer to where the mining is taking place. Gold is up. At the last, I had 135 tons per year. A lot of it is coming from illegal sources. And so if we are going to clamp down, then it means that the export volume is going to go down. And so it's an opportunity course we have to take. We must weigh the balance of the destruction of the environment against current economic crisis and the effect any reduction in gold exports is going to have. And I do think that we need to make a choice as a people. I believe that, I mean, some of those forest reserves are more important than the little gold that we take from under them. And so stopping mining in forest reserves will be one of the things that we look at.
Welcome back to your election command center. We head to the Upper East region because Paga in the Kasina-Nankana West District of the Upper East region is identified as one of the hotspots for electoral violence, largely due to border. Ahead of the 2024 general elections, the overlord of the Paga Traditional Council, Hammoah Agyemang II, has called for a meeting with political parties to commit to peace before, during and after the elections. Upper East Regional Correspondent Castro Senyala is at the meeting and he is joining me with more details on the back of that. Castro, this is Adam.
In the same Godwin.
Right. Exactly what has Hammoah been saying regarding the meeting?
Right, Godwin. Behind me is the Paga Chief Palace, where the meeting is currently being held. And the meeting is called essentially to caution political party actors the need to stick to peace before, during, and after elections. Paga has been noted to be one of the hotspots within the Upper East region, where there usually are some pockets of electoral violence. Even during the re-registration exercise carried out by the EC this year and in the other ones in the past, there have always been these incidents of pockets between the members of the two main political parties, that's the NDC and the MPP. Therefore, to make sure that some of these things do not happen, especially as we go into a crucial election this year, the paramount chief and the overlord of the Paga Traditional Council, Hammoah Agyemang, has called the leadership of these parties to his palace, where he is cautioning them and asking them to stick to peace because he does not want electoral violence to destabilize his area, which is known for brisk business activities and which is known to be a tourist center and also known to be a very peaceful area. This is what he's been telling them.
Right, Castro, we'll take a listen to what Hammoah has been saying shortly. But can you run us through how the people in the area have been reacting to some of his comments?
Yes, so both the political parties and by extent residents of Paga and in fact the entire China Paga constituency have lauded this move. Before even he started, I was interacting with some residents who told me that this is a move that is in the right direction because considering that the election is crucial and everyone wants to win, there's a need for the political actors or political parties to be called and cautioned so that they do not prioritize their win over the general peace and well-being of the area. And so for that matter, they have commended the move by the chief and they hope that this would be reciprocated in other parts of the district and also the region so that people, especially the political parties, are made aware of the fact that they do not have to prioritize their parochial interests over the entire peace of the region.
Right. You also made mention that Hammoah has been raising concerns about the border. And we know that from Paga to Burkina Faso is just a stone throw. Has he been raising some concerns on some of the safety measures that will be putting in place as leaders in the community to ensure that we have a free and fair election coming December?
Godwin, the Paga PO has been very vocal on the need for security to be strengthened, especially along the borders of Paga with Burkina Faso. He has been a voice that has been loud as far as calls concerning the setting up of a military base in Paga is concerned. And thankfully, government has listened. And as we speak, there is a a military post or camp in Paga, which is responsible for ensuring that the bad guys from across the border in Burkina Faso do not cross over to the district and by extension the region and the country. And so when it comes to ensuring peace as far as the act of terrorism is concerned, he has not minced words on that. And at this meeting, he's also saying that if Paga is thrown into a state of instability, these bad guys would take advantage and would cause more horrific problems for us. Already we are having issues of developments where we are calling on government and other actors to come in and support it. So if peace is something we can maintain and also achieve, it is going to be something that would drive away investors, especially considering that Paga is a hub for tourism and is one of the towns in the region which rakes in a lot of cash as far as tourism is concerned. He's been very, 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 very vocal about that, and he has cautioned all political actors to stick to his concerns and his caution so that they go through the election smoothly. And at the end of the day, whoever is selected as winner, it will help to champion the development of the area and the region as a whole.
Right, Castro, Akin lady there.
Godwin.
Well, so I've just been speaking with my colleague from the Upper East region, where I have been thanking him for definitely bringing us to speed with what is happening. In Paga, the chief there is ensuring that coming December, there will be a peaceful election, and he has been having a series of meetings, and this particular one is one that is supposed to drum home the need for a peaceful election, also to ensure that security will be brought into the community coming December 7. But the chairperson of the National Commission for Civic Education, Kathleen Addy, is urging Ghanaians to vote against politicians who use intemperate language in the lead-up to the 2024 elections. In a yet-to-be-aired interview on hot issues, the NCC board stressed that Ghanaians have a role to play in churning out responsible leaders. I beg your pardon.
It's unfortunate. Again, we've come a long way in this republic. But we must begin to punish wrong behavior through how we reward politicians. You understand? We must begin to punish wrong behavior. Because at the end of the day, politicians are not inherently bad people or some evil people. They're us. They come out of us. No politician came from Mars. They're all like us, right? If you live in a family and there's somebody who continuously behaves in a certain way, if the family does not like that behavior and we find a way to make the person pay for that behavior, most likely they will change, especially for a politician who's a very rational creature, only wants to be in politics. Many want to genuinely serve their communities. But we get to a point where when people are misbehaving, then we are giving them fans, so to speak, right? We are hailing them, we are giving them front row seats, we are repeating their negative energy, we are giving them platforms to do even more. What will be the motivation for them to stop? And we are rewarding them by giving them power. What will be the motivation for them to stop? We have a role to play in this. We have a role to... In an ideal situation, a leader will be such that they themselves will know that this is the wrong thing, I shouldn't do it.
Let's move away from election-related issues, and the Senior Staff Association, Universities of Ghana, have declared a total nationwide strike from Monday, September 16. This follows the government's failure to honor their demands for better service of conditions after a series of protests and negotiations. George Ansang is national chair of the association. He is joining us for a conversation on this. Ms. Ansang, so when we say Senior Staff Association, Universities of Ghana, who are your members? What roles do you play in the universities?
All right, good afternoon, my sister. Senior staff members of the universities are the middle level manpower of the university. And we are everywhere in the university, from administrative to finance to the teaching area, that is the laboratories, basic school, hospital, security, library, and all those places.
Why are you declaring the strike at this time?
Yes, because we feel like we are being discriminated against. We feel like the way the system of government is, we don't matter in the scheme of things of the university, because there is one common allowance that cuts across all the levels. Then agreement has been signed that this allowance will be reviewed biannually. The first one was reviewed, and then even the second one has been reviewed. In the university system, we have two payroll systems. We have one who are directly paid by controller, and then we have the subvented institution. Since January, when the first review came, they paid, the government wrote that the senior members should be paid. The letter didn't come, ours didn't come. So we agitated, we threatened of going on strike. Then finally, the letter came. So we said, oh, once the letter has come, let's give government the benefit of the doubt that government will pay. As we speak, my sister, government has not paid. A new rate has come. Government has written that the senior members should be paid. The letter has not even come, let alone instructing of effecting payment. And we feel like we are being cheated. We don't matter. Because if all of us are in the university, we are all taking a common allowance, then you right to pay some people and others you put deaf ears to them.
Ms. Anson, when was the last time you engaged government on the payment of these allowances? What was their response?
Government doesn't respond. We write, they don't respond. We call. We have even gone to GTEC. They say it's the ministry. We have gone to our employers, that is DCG. They too have tried. Nothing is coming from government. Nothing. Then the second point is our pension. That is our tier 2 deduction. That government has deducted since January till now. Government has failed to pay. We also have an outstanding issue concerning some interest calculations. Up till now, government has put deaf ears to all these concerns. And we can't take it anymore. So that is why we have decided to embark on this strike. And this time, until we see the money, we cannot trust government anymore.
All right, Ms. Hansong, so does it mean from Monday when we go to your universities, which areas are likely to suffer because of this strike by your members?
As I've said, all the areas are going to suffer. Because from administrative work to finance, through the hospital, basic school, fine, for the lab, maybe the students are on recess. So, but there are so many other places that people are still working.
And you say
and
until you see...
we are preparing for admission and graduation.
Yeah.
So it's going to affect all the sectors.
And you say you're not going back until you see your money.
We want to see the money because when we saw the letter, we thought, oh, once government has got the letter, they were going to do the needful. And up till now, government has not paid. It means that even if we see the second letter and we say we are staying in action, government will fail to pay. So we want to see the money. Once we see the money, we are good to go.
All right. George Ansong is National Chair of Senior Staff Association. He says they are not going back to their post until they see their money. This is Weekend Central on TV3. We're back with more after this break. Stay with us.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful Endpoint one?
Chesena me ankasa me period no say problems wom ntina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chesena nya asem ketewa na mkwan point no mo hwe me mogya mu no mo hwe bibia na so mo medu me fae no ene ma won kra mienu foforo kwa na mkwan mu a eba head everything yourself
me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante ene ne ko Endpoint o mama nura ene ne ho idea watimi asori anante.
That's Endpoint for you.
Of Acrobato.
Hello.
Hey, ohwehwe what che?
Okay.
A free bra wo di Endpoint wa dance am me call you no me just say man enkoyie and person my emre nyina and na magina sabema na me be fie for there the one dey nyina jaresa.
You heard everything. I have secret. Endpoint is my secret. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. I'm free.
This is Hot Issues, your passport to the most compelling conversations of our time. We go one-on-one with the movers and shakers, the thought leaders, and the game changers. We ask the questions that matter, and we don't back down.
Tonight on Hot Issues, I sit with the man at the center of corruption investigations.
Join me on Hot Issues here on TV3.
Hot Issues shows Sundays at 2 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
The news that matters most is the news that hits closest to home.
When it breaks, we are there.
Publicly verified 56 mining leases. Then I decide to download President Akufo-Addo's own. I almost collapsed. Look at it, 1,503
mining leases.
Mining leases in just 7.5 years. Are you aware that as we are having this galamsey brouhaha now, the justifiable anger, outrage, upheaval, because we face an existential threat. What is happening is mass murder. They are driving all of us to the cemeteries. They are killing us. One would have thought that at least these licenses will be suspended. It is going on. I found out that on September 4, one day, they gave out 12 licenses. One day.
The 4th of September.
Between August and September this year, this last few weeks, last few days actually, they have given out 38 licenses. Look, in the midst of this uproar.
And this is information that's...
It's all online. Viewers can go to the 38. Ghana Mining Report. 38 between August and September. 38. It's like Muka Krana more. Because look, all the environmental activists have said. I listened to your colleague, the outstanding young journalist who's been taking up this crusade for years, Erastus, who says that, look, now there's no difference between the licensed ones and the online.
The United Nations has called for a multilateral approach to dealing with the unending dangers of climate change in the country. This follows studies that have shown that more communities are increasingly becoming vulnerable to climate risk. At a press ahead of the Summit of the Future held in Accra, the UN suggested the use of both local and foreign interventions to address all emerging threats.
Experts have raised concerns about the growing impact of climate change in Ghana as rising sea levels and high temperatures expose more people to climate-related risks. These have been greatly impacted by human activities such as illegal mining, air pollution and plastic waste, which have contributed to the crisis. The United Nations Resident Coordinator Charles Abani stated that dealing with these emerging threats requires an all-inclusive approach.
When we have global consensus, then everybody is acting in unison. And I think that's the consensus that the Summit of the Future, to be unleashed in a way that will enable them to address these challenges meaningfully and holistically in the multilateral solidarity that means that no one single person can solve all these problems by themselves. Any problem you want to unpack, whether it is galamsey or climate change, it is complex, and we live in a world of complexity. That is why we need global consensus.
Developing countries like Ghana face a major challenge, financial hurdles that mostly impede efforts to tackle these complex problems head-on.
The triple planetary crisis, climate change, pollution, biodiversity loss, these are existential challenges for the whole globe, not just for Ghana. And if we're going to address them, Ghana must have the resources to be able to address this. This is why the chairman has spoken about the need to harness the opportunity for carbon finance, bring innovative and blended finance to the table. This is the reason why the global financial architecture must work in favor of developing countries.
As we approach the 2030 deadline, the United Nations believes it is crucial to reflect on the SDGs.
Ghana has played a strong role in integrating the SDGs into its budgetary framework, taking a number of steps to continue to review these processes. This Summit of the Future is not replacing the SDGs. The SDGs remain the blueprint that the globe is working on until 2030. But you don't develop something and then say it's a blueprint and you just continue implementing. You also reflect and try to find ways to strengthen what you're doing.
The United Nations is optimistic global cooperation can be used in leading efforts to secure a better future. Safwa Boahene, TV3 News, Accra.
The National Democratic Congress is insisting that its planned protest, slated for Tuesday, September 17, to demand a forensic audit of the voters' register will proceed. Speaking on the key points, the National Communications Officer of the NDC, Sami Gyamfi, noted that if the Electoral Commission has nothing to hide, it should allow the audit. Listen to him and others who spoke earlier on key points today.
Issues we have detected. And let me make it clear to you, voter exhibition is not about detecting illegal voter transfers. Voter exhibition, check CI 91, primarily is for the purpose of giving voters the opportunity to check if their particulars on their voter ID cards have been accurately captured in the voters register. So they go, they show their voter's ID card, they check if their names have been spelled correctly, if their details have been spelled correctly, and so on. That is what exhibition is about. No voter has the capacity to detect illegal transfers on the scale we have detected through a voter exhibition exercise. So when you hear the EC argue that, and the whole essence of voter exhibition is so that we can detect errors. And so what the NDC has found is not strange. They are lying to you. Because the errors we are talking about cannot be detected through voter exhibition. No voter has the capacity to detect that 38 people or 243,000 voters have been wrongly added to a register.
This is a system. And system develops, ICT develops day in, day out. And since we started this registration exercise with this facility since 2020, we have not had such occurrence.
I see.
When this thing happened, then we realized the need for us to go for the liveliness check so that we can use that one to prevent anyone who want to use the photograph as was used to effect transfer. And currently we have done that, but we did not stop there. We went through all the transfer that has been made to ensure that nobody used the same path to effect the transfer, and we did not find any. They came to us and presented issues, not that they gave it to us. They said we have found 5 irregularities with the voters' roll.
Yeah.
And they indicated, for instance, missing voters, 3,900 and something, transfer voters. Then they stated them one after the other.
Yes.
Then they showed us a projector. On the projector, they showed us some of the issues, examples of them. So we asked them to leave that document with us so that we go through to investigate, which they said they will give it to us when they go back to the office.
I see. But they didn't.
They didn't.
If you don't trust these state institutions, then their work becomes difficult. We may not be able to, we don't have to always second guess, you know, when we are dealing with them. And then if it comes to Electoral Commission, for instance, we must be mindful of the fact that without the kind of trust that state institutions and especially independent institutions like Electoral Commission are expected to have, if you don't get that trust, then we are in for chaos. If people don't trust the Electoral Commission, then that alone is a recipe for conflict, because then they are always aggressively on the defensive in monitoring the kinds of things that they do. That's why I've always spoken about public trust deficit in some of these state institutions and advocated for the need for the challenge of trust deficit to be addressed.
There must be an independent audit. These guys want to rig this election. So they want to rig it and will not allow. Look, on Tuesday, Ghanaians pour out into the streets. Let's go and demonstrate. EC can't take us for granted. Why? Are we kids? You've had 8 years. You've looted and looted us. You want to help them to loot again another 4 years. We will not allow that to happen. Madam Palmer, please step in. Yes, step in. Let's have that independent audit. Have you heard? 3,987 illegal transfer. You think that's a joke? Then the 15,000 one. Then the 2,000.
243,000.
Can you imagine?
Away from that, with increasing records of maritime threats on the Gulf of Guinea, the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Center is keen on empowering women in maritime security through its efforts to promote inclusivity. The center has launched the Code of Practice for Women in the sector. Here is Ekuya Ofuriwadakun's reports.
Maritime security challenges such as piracy, illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing and other fisheries crimes significantly affect communities and individuals. Now, with the introduction of the Code of Practice for Women in Maritime Security, the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center is strengthening its gender lens to promote an inclusion and protective environment for women in the sector.
Women are not that bold to go forward and take opportunities when they come. But with this one, and then with implementation plan and communication plan, if they are able to communicate to all stakeholders for them to adapt, then we'll be able to ensure that women are able to take that position and then be recognized in that space.
The Code of Practice was drawn on the principles of participation, protection, equity, prevention, relief, and recovery. It makes provision for 15 subject matters designed to guide and inform efforts and actions towards the advancement and welfare of women in Western Central Africa's maritime domain.
We need to communicate very well to all our stakeholders to adopt the Code of Practice because we think it is the right thing. It ensures that there's parity, there's equity, and there's fairness in the industry. And of course, after we communicated it and all our stakeholders have adopted it, and we will go back in about 3 years and do the monitoring.
Denmark's ambassador to Ghana, Tom Noren, emphasized that the implementation of the Code of Practice by stakeholders of the maritime sector would help advance the women peace security agenda while exploring collaborations with women in the domain.
There is a certain amount of monitoring at the end. None of us want to put time and resources into any project without knowing that it has an impact, books on the shelf. So yes, of course, there has to be some kind of monitoring to ensure that this is also carried out in practice.
The Code of Practice for Women in the Maritime Security domain was an offshoot of the support by the government of Denmark on the project Integrated Responses to Threats to Maritime Safety and Security in the Gulf of Guinea. Ekuya Ofuriwadaku, TV3 News, Accra.
It's time for us to take a break. When we return, we'll tell you more about what the flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has been saying. Stay with us.
And start the conversation here on Ghana Tonight. I am your host, Alfred Okamsi.
Ghana Tonight. Shows Monday to Friday at 10 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Our mission here at TV3 is that the news comes first, and that's the promise of News Central.
With reporters every corner of the country.
Consignment to attend their action
in production to the lions
and experts across the subjects that affects you the most.
We stay across the big stories that impact you the most as they break, develop and evolve into major national issues.
With all angles covered across the country and across every subject. I am Kemini Amano.
And I am Eric Mawina Egbeta.
News Central, live weekdays at 12 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
It's hot, and according to the judges for the week, it is supposed to be sizzling.
We are taking this year's trophy straight to the hilltop. No excuses, just results.
So until then, we keep our words to ourselves.
Expect nothing from us but the good skills that we got for
you. You are not joking with this kitchen war season 3.
Yeah, at all.
So
we are here to win.
So please watch out for us.
Who really was able to impress the judges?
Kitchen Wars is brought to you by Kivo Foods, Everpack, Mazim Foods, Miss Cookie Spices,
Chana Shito.
Welcome back. President Akufo-Addo has commended the State Interest and Governance Authority, SIGA, for its role in reducing financial losses by over 40% during the year under review. While praising their efforts, the president warned state-owned enterprises that failure to comply with SIGA's regulations leading to continued losses will not be tolerated. The president made these remarks at the annual stakeholders engagement of the authority at Kwewu and Kwetia in the Eastern region.
Despite the progress made, some specified entities continue to operate at a loss, and certain institutions have resisted SIGA's oversight. We must address these issues swiftly and decisively. Transparency and accountability are not negotiable. They are the bedrock upon which effective governance is built. Submitting to the oversight of SIGA and signing performance contracts is not an infringement on the autonomy of these entities. I'm proud to report that the contributions of our state-owned enterprises to the nation's GDP have steadily increased from 3% in 2020 to 6% in 2021 and reaching 10% in 2020. Equally noteworthy is a significant reduction in financial losses and operational irregularities within these entities. The aggregate losses of state-owned enterprises have fallen sharply from 14.4 billion cedis in 2022 to 2.6 billion cedis in 2023. The Auditor General's report for 2023 confirms this progress, showing a decline in irregularities from 15.059 billion cedis in 2022 to 8.799 billion cedis in 2023, representing a 41.64% reduction.
Well, from one party to the other, the flag bearer of the NDC says he is prepared to plead with the Millennium Challenge Corporation for a refund of the withdrawn $190 million Power Compact Fund. Ghana lost out on the deal, which was part of the over $500 million Millennium Challenge funds geared towards improving the power sector in the country. The withdrawal was also necessitated following the PDS scandal. Speaking at the Energy Forum on Friday, John Mahama says he has commenced engagement with the U.S. ambassador to Ghana on the move.
One of the first things I'll do when I become president is to go and kneel before the Millennium Challenge Compact and beg them and say the 190 million, I beg them, we need it. It was the last component. We had invested in transmission, in all the value chain. It was a 570 million compact. And we had invested properly all that money. And it was just down to the last part of it, which is to deal with the sick man of the power fraternity, ECG, you know, just there. And that was to bring in private sector participation in ECG in order to improve on collections and reduce commercial losses. And then the family started quarreling with the front men over the share. And the quarrel became so serious that, you know, with fraudulent insurance bonds and all that kind of thing, you know, it got stalled, and the Millennium Challenge Compact had to pull back the 190 million. I met with the American ambassador yesterday. We were discussing other issues aside from to do with international and domestic issues, especially with regards to our ongoing tussle with the Electoral Commission. And during the discussion, I appealed to her again that if God favors us and the people of Ghana, you know, also favor us and vote for us, one of the first things I'll do when I swear in as president is come to her office and ask her to arrange a mission for me to go to America to beg them that we need that 190 million to come and resolve the downstream distribution sector, because we need that. We need to improve efficiency of collection and also work to reduce the technical losses as much as possible. Until we do that and stabilize the economy in order that the currency is stable, until we
And experts are calling for increased awareness of childhood cancer cases. Ghana is set to record about 1,300 childhood cancer cases annually, with some going undetected. At the launch of this year's Cancer Awareness Month, stakeholders are advocating for a collective approach to address the disease. Here's a report by Kia Ofuriwadako.
It can't be a daunting task for mothers with children living with cancer to travel long distances to access comprehensive treatment. This situation usually causes delays in treatment, which often leads to the death of these children. For some mothers living in hard-to-reach communities who were transferred to the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, their proximity to access cancer treatment for their children at the initial stages of detection prolonged the process of treatment.
I used to come from Oda in the eastern region for treatment, but now I am at the Sunshine Mothers Hostel in Korle Bu, so it makes access to treatment much easier, unlike before.
They are living very far from Accra. Some are from Volta, some are from North, some are coming from very far. Even some people come from Nigeria. After they release them to do women camp, but they didn't report away.
President of the Cancer Society of Ghana, Professor Lona Arorena, called for stronger partnerships to increase visibility and awareness of childhood cancer in Ghana. The First Lady of the International Central Gospel Church, ICGC, Lady Joy Otabil, who has been supporting the Childhood Cancer Society of Ghana, underscored the urgent need for all sectors to come on board to fight and support childhood cancers.
On synergy, the message is simple. Standing alone, the efforts of each of us may pale into insignificance. But when we join our hands together, the impact will be multiplied in the fight against childhood cancer in Ghana.
Tagged Joining Hands to Fight Childhood Cancer, this year's Cancer Awareness Month would focus on extensive engagements in all regions across the country. Ekuya Ofuriwadako, TV3 News, Accra.
Concerned staff of the Labour Department of Ghana have staged a protest. They have opposed a decision of the Minister of Employment and Labour Relations to relocate the ministry to a new headquarters under construction.
We want him to advise himself on the decision that he has taken. Labour Department will no longer be silenced. We will no longer be quiet. Now we have a voice, and enough is enough.
Frustrated and disturbed, the staff of the Labour Department voiced their displeasure, emphasizing the poor working conditions they endured in their previous office.
The structure was very bad. They couldn't come for that structure. You came to us to tell us that you have secured a loan to construct a building, and you were moved to this place. Why do you want to shortchange us?
Our rent for this particular structure will end 30th of September. So from 30th of September, we will not have it. So at least we should begin moving out. 14th of August, we were locked out because we did not pay our rent.
The headquarters that stood as a pillar of Labour administration over the years has deteriorated significantly, exposing the staff, clients and other users to safety risks. Engaging with the Labour officers, they said the old building was demolished for the purpose of redeveloping the space to create a modern and accessible facility, especially for persons with disabilities and for labour services. However, their sector minister wants the ministry to rather relocate there. As an institution dedicated to enforcing labour laws and safeguarding workers' rights, the Labour Department urged all stakeholders to unite and support their call for the minister to rescind his decision.
Everybody has to come together and fight this. That new building and edifice belongs to the people of Ghana. It belongs to the Labour Department. The land on which the building is for the Labour Department. We will not allow our land, our institutional land since 1942 to go over to the ministry.
Safwa Bwahine, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, if you are looking to be enrolled into the Ghana Armed Forces, that might be of interest to you because the Ghana Armed Forces has begun the 2024 recruitment for the regular career officer course and short service commission officers. In a public notice, GAF emphasized that it does not work with intermediaries or charge any fees for recruitment and urged the public to report any individuals who present themselves as intermediaries and request payment to assist. Interested applicants are encouraged to check the daily graphic of Friday, September 13, 2024 or via graphicnewsplus.com for full details about the enlistment process. The Ghana Armed Forces has meanwhile urged the public to avoid engaging with fraudulent recruitment platforms on social media. Well, that's it for our package. That's it for our package for today. Before we go, though, pick up your phone, open the camera on the phone, take it straight to the black and white QR code on the screen, and it will take you straight to our WhatsApp platform where you get access to all the information, credible information regarding every aspect that you need to get it from. So, thank you for joining us. My name is Hammoah Agyemang.
My name is Godwin Asediba. Thank you so much for making us a part of your time. We will be back tomorrow, same time. Make sure you tune in.